Hello YouTube and welcome for another deck profile video. Well, it was a very long time since I last posted one of my videos. I'm been a bit busy in private and with working and all that stuff, and so I cannot post videos in very short time. So but now I'm here, and since the release of the new Blue Eye structure deck was this week, I wanted to show you my deck profile I've been testing for, and yeah, let's jump right into it. Since I'm not a newcomer to this deck and playing this deck since, I would say, 15 plus years, I made my talks about the new support and the cards that I wanted to try and test to play, and in private I've been testing since yesterday which card you can play, which card will come up, and which card you actually don't come up. There are a lot of cards that I wanted to play, and in the end result I cut them. For example, I wanted to include Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Alternative Dragon, but in short story these cards never or rarely came up, and so I did cut them for cards that will come more often up or are way more useful than these other cards. It's a bit sad because I wanted to include them, but in the end I didn't. I don't know if I will change that in the future, but for now I'm more into standardizing this build over any other. So let's start with the monsters. Here's one of the points. This is a 41 card deck, and there are a few reasons behind it, because you can go over 40 with these cards, with this deck, only a little bit, because most of the cards are searchable, and you actually don't want to draw cards like Duelist or other cards that are mainly one-offs and part of the combo, and that helps you by achieving that. So for starters, I actually chose to play triple Blue Eyes White Dragons, because for me it's not a Blue Eyes deck if it's not include 3 Blue Eyes, but also Bestials are running around, and banishing is a thing. You can actually retrieve your banished Blue Eyes White Dragons, but not that easy, and not in the long term. So in the long term, this deck dies if every Blue Eyes White Dragon is banished. So your bestial opponents or opponents that has banishing effects will choose to banish the Blue Eyes White Dragons, so that you are unable to play. And yeah, if you play 3, you could brick a little bit easier, but that's one way we play 41 cards. And but for the grind game, 3 Blue Eyes is especially needed if you have, as I mentioned before, banishing abilities from your opponent that awaits you, and you can surprise them if you have the third copy. I don't recommend it. You can be fantastic with only 2, but I decided to play 3, and I've decided to play this artwork because this artwork is my most favorite. Then for starters we play, of course, Saturated Eyes of Blue, because it's a very flexible card. It can interact as starter, it can search you a hand trap, or can even use be an extender. And we play 3 of the new Maiden of White, which is an absolute fantastic card, and does very much for this deck. Then I decided to play double Neo Kaiser Seahorse. I guess 90% of the deck lists in competitive way out there doesn't play the Neo Kaiser Seahorse. At first at testing I was playing one of him, because I wanted the new Ultimate Dragon to be hard summonable. But in testing I pumped this card up to 2, because it's an excellent starter on its own. So one Neo Kaiser Seahorse is a full combo on itself, and I really like him. I don't want to play 3. This card is not searchable in the entire deck, but so 2 is actually fine. If you have it, you have it, and then you don't. Then for the last Blue Eyes monster card is Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. I wanted to include 2. It's not necessary, and you don't always need it. And it's one of the cards you actually don't want to draw. It's a card you want to send with Neo Kaiser Seahorse. Then for the other monsters, I play, of course, the Primate Engine, because I'm a huge fan of the Primate Engine in general, in my other decks as well. Primate is a very good keystone for this deck, because if you don't have your Blue Eye starters, you can start with Primate Dragons, and Primate Dragons are guaranteeing you that you have an extremely good follow-up and late game power. It's a very good grindy engine. Then for the monster hand traps, I play Triple Air Blossom and Triple Effect Railer, because Effect Railer on its own can also be a starter. Crazy if you think about it, but it's a level 1 light tuner, so you have multiple cards that can search it, and it's one of the more generic hand traps you can play. So that's it for the monsters, so it's basically 21 monsters. The count is a bit high, but I guess it's perfectly fine. So for the spells, I play 1 Mausoleum of White. Of course, it's searchable, so you only need 1, you don't want to draw it. If you draw it, and sometimes it's okay if your opponent interrupts you in your plays, and then you have Mausoleum of White into level 1 tuner, then you can actually extend your plays. Then I play Triple Wishes for Eyes of Blue, which is yeah, a pretty good card, you can say. You can discard cards you don't need, and then you can search 2 cards. You can even search Effect Railer with it, which is pretty crazy. And yeah, I wish there would say you can search light tuner monsters, level 4 or below, so that your Neo Kaiser Seahorse is searchable, but I guess this is fine too. Then I play 1 War of the Blue Eyed Dragons. It's basically unexpected die, but it locks you into dragons, which is completely fine, because my extra deck is only filled with dragons. Spoiler ahead. And yeah, the fusion effect nearly doesn't come up, but it's a pretty good card, it's a pretty good starter, it's a pretty good extender, you need it. Then I play double Ultimate Fusion. When you watched my future deck profiles, I played Triple Ultimate Fusion, but this card is now much more easier to access, and you don't need it now at 3. 2 is okay, it is an interruption, it is a recycling card, so you need at least 2. I think 2 is the perfect number for it. 1 is too short, 3 is too much, but 2 is perfectly fine. Then for the Primate Engine, I play Triple Lord and double Drill Beam. 59% of the players play 1 Drill Beam. I play 2. I prefer to have 2. If one of my Lotus or my Aether Barrels gets interrupted and I have already my Drill Beam, then then their interruptions have lower impact on me, and it's one reason to pump this at 2 for more negation consistency. And in the grind game, if this gets hit by any banishing effect and you have a second one, because it recycles every turn itself, it's good. And sometimes you are stuck with the one that is set. You set it on your turn. You cannot actually use it on your turn, but if you have a second in your hand, then you can interrupt the plays of your opponent, and nobody is really expecting that. Then I played 1 Called by the Grave and 1 Feeder Star in the main deck. You can cut it, because you have engine ways of dealing with back rows, but I prefer to have it, especially against blue eyes. It can what's called it can fetch negates and then destroying their back row, so force out dual beams, force out their ultimate dragon synchro monster. So Harpy's Federduster is pretty good. Then for traps, I play my most favorite card of the deck, actually, my Majesty of the White Dragons. Majesty of the White Dragons is a pretty good, you could say, for free Icarus attack for up to 3 cards, non-targeting, destroy. It could even ritual summon, but we don't do that here. 1 True Light. I was thinking about actually playing 2 True Lights, but I cannot find the space for it. You can actually cut Federduster 1 Will Beam if you want to play double True Light. I wouldn't recommend playing 3, but 2 could be fine, but you're bricking with it if you draw it or have multiples in your hand. But for late game, when your opponent has Cosmic Cycling or something like that, then if this card is gone, then it really hurts. If you don't have a Primate Engine and your True Light is gone in the banish pile, then you have a big problem. Then as a secondary target for my Primate Engine, I play 1 Primate Scream. What it actually does is a counter trap if your opponent special or normal summons a monster and you have a normal monster on your field, or a level 5 or higher Primate monster, then you can negate the summons and banish this card, which is pretty useful in some scenarios. And it can even reset it itself once in a duel. And then I play, for the last hand trap, Trivial Impermanence. I think, yeah, you must play a little bit of hand traps this format if you want to play competitive. Otherwise, yeah, you can, if you want to play it more the fun way and don't want to include primary cards, so play it out of the box, blue eyes, and you can include other blue eye spells or traps if you want to. That comes then next to our extra deck. The extra deck space is extremely tight and I cannot fit in what I actually wanted to play, like the new Blue Eyes alternative ultimate. So for the extra deck I play double Spirit with Eyes of Blue. You actually need 2 to extend your plays, or if you got erupted. Sometimes you need a way other than your Primate Engine to revive a Blue Eyes from the grave. This is the way to go for it. And yeah, I play 2. I play only 1 seals. I wanted to play at least 2 seals, but in testing 1 is perfectly fine. You don't always make it. And it's a pretty good interruption, but you only want to resolve it once. Then I did include or test the Indigo Eye Silver Dragon. Actually, I'm thinking about cutting him. He never came up in testing. I need to see what I wanted to include. Maybe I will include the Acer Eyes Silver Dragon, because I don't have the space for it. I had the decision to make Indigo or Silver Eyes, so I wanted to try out the new Indigo, because he came up and he's one of the very few cards of this deck that can actually summon from the banish pile. Then for fusions I play a double Tyrant Dragon. This one is the go into fusion in this deck. He can attack all your opponent's monsters. It's pretty big, and he can infinity loop your trap cards, especially your Majesty of the White Dragons. You can pop 2 or 3 cards in this deck every single turn, and every time he battled, he sets this card back. It's a really great addition. It's my favorite combo of the entire deck. And I play 1 Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Nobody is playing him, but I find him very cool. And he can outstuff you cannot out by simply banishing it. And you can even contact fuse if your opponent gives you a Daruma Karma Cannon or a Book of Eclipse or something like that, and you special summon your Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon, and then go for it. And even in a mirror match, you can crash 2 blue eyes white dragons, and that's pretty cool. For example, if your opponent plays the Primate engine, it has the attack pump blue eyes monster, and you are guaranteeing banishing 1 or 2 blue eyes every single turn, and then it's game over for them. And I play 1 Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Original, I wanted to play 2, because this is a deck that can actually not only equip him, but summon him. And he is one of my favorite Blue Eyes fusion monsters. And he can attack for game on its own, and it's pretty good. Somebody might not expect him. You must be careful so that you can resolve the OTK, but in this deck it's possible. Then for the synchros, I play Triple Spirit Dragons. Yeah, Spirit Dragon is the most go-to synchro monster in this deck. And he can fetch and negate stuff from grave. So cards from grave or effects in grave are pretty popular. Fiendsmith, something like that. And yeah, the negation effect is pretty cool. He has a soft lockdown effect, as nobody can actually summon more than 2 monsters, more than 1 monster at each time, which is cool against Pendulum, but nobody is playing Pendulum, so yeah, it will rarely come up that you actually can special 2 monsters with it. Then I decided to play double, what's called, Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Why double? Because no one ever played 2. You can recycle it with Ultimate Fusion. What you normally do in this deck is you activate Spirit effects, special summon 1 of them, and the other one you can hard make with the Neo Kaiser Seahorse, which is pretty cool, and that's the reason why I play 2 of them. Then for the others, synchro, I play Lightstorm Dragon to deal with back row, and it's pretty cool. When he dies, then he revives 1 of your spell and traps, and then you can activate it if you control the Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's a pretty cool card, which can pop up 4 cards from your opponent's spell and trap zone. And for the last, I play for a disruption Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. You can the resting fact, you can make Lightstorm Dragon and your Moonlight Dragon, not only with the Spirit Dragons, but you can also synchro normal with them. If you have, for example, the Aether Barrel, and you have your Neo Kaiser Seahorse. Neo Kaiser Seahorse can pump up himself to level 5 or pump up him down to level 3, so you can actually hard synchro summon these cards, which is pretty cool and pretty useful in certain scenarios. Especially Moonlight Dragon in Blue Eyes is especially good, because you can, your opponent special summon Blue Eyes, and then you can just bounce it back to the hand. And yeah, that's practical. So this is my Blue Eyes build I've been testing so far. I need more testing. Maybe I will take this deck to future tournaments if I have the time. So I don't attend locals in a longer time. Since the last Digimon tournament I wasn't at any locals. So I need to test it. And yeah, that's practically it. 41 card, 15 cards in extra. And yeah. Then vote me down below what you think about this build. What you think is good, what you think is bad. And yeah. Then that's it, and we will see us in the next video. Bye bye. Danke für das Zuschauen und nicht vergessen:
Glaube an das Herz der Karten!
So sieht es aus. Also, bis zum nächsten Mal, wenn es wieder heißt:
Zeit für ein Duell!